Howdy folks. For today's random teardown, I thought I'd take apart this Logitech wireless keyboard mouse trackpad combo thing. This is the model K400r. I bought this for my home theater media center PC. I use Kodi, so I just use my Android app, Yahtzee, to control Kodi. This is just sort of for starting up, logging on, that kind of thing. It's really a terrible keyboard. I would not recommend buying this. I've tried a couple of these sort of, wireless keyboards with a trackpad on them, and they all suck. I don't know how, but they do. I don't think it's that hard to build a trackpad and a keyboard into one product, but they all are terrible. The one that I tried before, I honestly can't remember the name of it. The trackpad just was completely useless, and it had no way of holding on to the thing because it was like the thing was just the size of the keyboard, and the battery lasted like a day. It was the most useless thing ever. The keyboard feels awful. Typing on this is like painful. I mean, I know that I use a mechanical keyboard and I know I'm a little spoiled, but I mean, this is awful. This is not like a laptop keyboard. This is like the cheapest possible membrane keyboard you could possibly buy. This is not a review. I'm taking this thing apart. But just so you know, this feels awful. So if you're buying this online without actually typing on it, be warned. Touchpad is like, just think of like 2005 laptop touchpad. It's not like modern day good touchpads, but I mean, it works. There's an on-off switch here with the, the little green and orange paper behind it, so you know what it is. The batteries and the wireless thing sits in here. These are the original batteries. They all come with these super chunky batteries. Are they? Yep. 0% mercury. Okay, so at least they're a little bit, well, a little bit better than really, really crappy stuff. There's a date code marking there, but it hasn't been punched, so I have no idea when they made this. Let's see, can I get a screwdriver that will fit that? No, I can't destroy this, unfortunately, because I do sort of need it. But man, these are really, really, really small screws. And the threads are, yeah, they look like self-tapping plastic screws. And there appears to be 6 of them, if I got them all. So let's see if I can separate this without stuff going everywhere. I've checked under at least one of the feet, and I don't think there's any screws under the feet. So if it's held together, it's most certainly clips. So let me try and get the back off, and I'll come back. Okay, so when on the back, turns out that there are screws under both of those feet, and there are 2 screws hiding under the label. So, and there's a bunch of clips everywhere. So I had to open this quite slowly because I didn't want all the keys to go everywhere. And you'll be happy to know that the keys are actually captive, so they don't fall out. So you can see there's the individual keys, like so, and they're molded into this. You could probably pop the keys out. Let's just try that here. Actually, wow, yeah, those are. Yeah, you can pop these out, but I'm not really sure if that's gonna gain anything. This is just one piece, and then there's 2 little tabs on each of the keys that they push in. Even the keys on the top here, they're all the same except for the key on the end here, which is this mouse click button. That one just has this piece of plastic that snakes around the button. and that's what sort of provides the spring action, which is unusual. It's the only one that's different. And so this is our touchpad right here. So you can see they've got these little, almost like levers here for the two buttons, and they have this little piece that sticks out on the top. So that's what stops them from being pushed in really far. Of course, the button on the back is what actually stops it, but that's how they've done that. And that was the date thing that I could see through the battery holder, but it hasn't been punched. But it's got 11, 12, 13, so it was made within that time period. And the touchpad here, we can see there was a flat flex going to the other board, which I'll show you in just a moment. We can see here this is the edge of the Cypress Semiconductor logo. So obviously either this board is made by Cypress, and there's a chip on here. Get the magnifying glass, we'll see what touchpad it uses. So this is obviously probably an off-the-shelf touchpad module. They've just added on to this and multiplexed it into the keyboard USB, something like that. This is a CY8C TMG 200A-32L 2013-07. So okay, yeah, so that agrees with it for the date. I'll see if I can comment anything on that. We shall set that aside, and this is the back. So you can see we've just got our membrane here. This is what feels really shitty. And the membrane extends to the two touchpad buttons here. Yeah. There's dome switches, so metal domes under the two touchpad buttons, but it's just regular membrane contacts for everything else. So we can see some part numbers, nothing really interesting here. That other switch, that other key, the mouse click key, is a dome switch as well. So they've got 3 dome switches on this. All of which have to do with the mouse, which makes sense because you want that kind of tactile click when you click a mouse, but they obviously forwent every possible tactile feedback with the keyboard, obviously for cost. Even though this is really actually not that cheap a keyboard when you think about it. It's actually relatively expensive. You pay a lot for the wireless capabilities. And this is our main board here. So this is interesting. We've got this. Yeah, that's interesting. So we have 2 positives here and 1 negative on the battery. So the negative actually comes from both of the negatives, and then the positive comes from this battery and this battery. So the 2 batteries are not in series like you would normally expect to get you 3 volts. They're actually in parallel to give you more capacity, which is an interesting, I was not expecting that. Yeah, you can clearly see they're center tapping this to give you parallel. That's interesting. I was not expecting that at all. And this is our board here. So we've got the 2 connectors here, the 2 edge connectors for the flex here, made by Dongfang. We've got test point 2.2 volts DC right there. I'm not sure, the lighting isn't terribly good today, so sorry if you can't see that. So that's interesting because the only way you could get 2.2 volts is if you put the 2 in series. So they may have some sort of power supply on the other side possibly. There's another test point here for that. We've got a big tank capacitor. That's 100 microfarads, 16 volt. We've got an inductor diode. This looks like all the world to me like a switching power supply. So it's very possible that that's what it has. It's just got a boost converter. We have a 16 megahertz crystal on here. Let me see. Obviously our microcontroller is on the other side of this board. Hopefully this comes up without too much of a hassle. I'm actually reluctant because I don't want to break that connector on the end there, because they've basically soldered that directly on there. Let me just see if there's anything on the back. Yeah, there is. So this is just our on-off switch with the little oh, that's interesting. Well, that's cute. Look at that. They don't even bother to take the little plastic off the little protective film off the plastic for the colored sections. They just leave it on there. That's nice. It's like Samsung when they assemble your stainless steel refrigerator and they leave the plastic on when they ship it to you, but they assemble the whole product with the plastic on, so when they put the over moldings on, you can't get the plastic out from under it unless you take the whole door apart. I had a Samsung refrigerator, and that just getting the plastic off was the most annoying thing I could. It was awful. Why they do that, I don't know. Actually, if I can get this, yeah, I can get this out. That's okay. I can just take the battery clip completely out, because there is the microcontroller on the other side of this, and I'd really like to know what it is. Just flip this over here, and there is our switch and our lone controller here. Interesting, we've got this table here, which has got you know, SPI Mozzie, MISO, 2.7 volts DC VBAT, clock. So this makes me think that this is, oh, you know what? Could this be the pinout for the header right here, the one that goes to the touchpad? This might be, yeah. I would bet that touchpad is probably an SPI interface, and that's probably the pinout to that flat flex. That's cool. So this chip here, magnifying glass yet again. This NRF 024LE1H 1322OU. So the last part's probably a date code, but I don't see any manufacturer markings on that. So I'll have to look up what that is. But yeah, that's interesting. Rev A on the case. At least they got the mechanics right. So yeah, that was a little interesting. It's I mean, this is at least a Logitech part that's got their branding on it. But obviously the touchpad is probably an off-the-shelf part, and this is almost certainly an SPI interface, because I mean it's got the right number of pins. And I don't really have a way of getting this off. This is probably, this little inset touch area is most likely glued into this, so there's no way I'm getting that out without destroying it. But anyway, hopefully you found that interesting. If you have one of these or are planning on buying one of these. So, thanks for watching.